I don't know what I'm trying to say. My point is, so today we are going to do something a little bit different. I am going to be reviewing something that I absolutely love, but just nothing that I've been public about on here or anything like that. Nothing that I've really gotten into on YouTube, but it is a passion of mine. And I just got really into it after working for Coty for an extended period of time. And we are talking about fragrances. I have always loved fragrance, whether it be like candles or actual perfumes, aromatherapy. Our sense of smell is just really powerful. It can make you have certain memories, you can have nostalgia, it can cause attraction, it can be flirtatious. There's so many moods that can happen with fragrances or sense of smell. Me personally, I have a really sensitive nose, like really sensitive. So it works really well in my favor when it comes to fragrances, and it works against me sometimes. Like if it is something that smells not great, I have a hard time because I will literally get physically ill. But my nose is really good for fragrances because I can really pick apart notes super well. And I don't know, it's not really something I like purposefully trained myself on, but I've noticed over time it is something that I'm really good at. Like most of the time, I would say 9 out of 10 times, if someone like walks by me anywhere, like in the mall or in a grocery store, I can usually tell almost immediately what fragrance they're wearing. And I guess that does come from extensive knowledge of working around and in the beauty industry for a very long time. And so I was like, you know what? I should start talking about this. I talk about everything else. It's something that I'm passionate about, something that I love, it's something that I'm really knowledgeable about, and something that I love learning about. So why not share it with you guys on here, and maybe it would help somebody pick out their favorite fragrance. So I am going to be just picking one at a time for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my like library or closet of fragrance. I do have a lot of different ones, not as extensive as some of these people that are like fragrance gurus and they have just like shelves and shelves of fragrance behind them. I'm not like that. I'm not like, it's not my like life calling to be a fragrance person, but I do love them and I have pretty freaking good taste, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm just gonna share with you some of my favorite ones. Something that I haven't seen really, I've seen a lot of people talking about certain fragrances, their favorites, what they like about them, what they don't like, if they stay, if they don't stay on your body. I've heard a lot of like talk about like obviously the undernotes, and so people are fairly aware of that kind of thing, but I kind of wanted to take it a step further just because that's the way that my mind works. So first of all, I want to incorporate some of the imagery and promotional vibes that these companies put across for each individual fragrance, because I do think that that is part of it. It's meant to like, fragrance really kind of tells a story, and I think that's really important. And I also, something else that I like really started honing in on when I started with Coty was because there were so many different fragrances. I mean, Coty owns everybody. I mean, they have Burberry, they have Chloe, they have Gucci, they have Marc Jacobs, they have Calvin Klein. I'm sure I'm forgetting some. They have Philosophy. They have so many different ones, and out of those lines they all have like a lot of fragrances as well, and men and women's. So sometimes it was kind of hard, especially in the beginning, to help somebody. It's like there's too many options, and then like you're trying to show different ones and talk and speak to them, but you're like, I don't know, all 50 of these are florals. Pick your favorite. So I kind of wanted to make it a more, hey, let's get down from there. Come on, get down. So I wanted to kind of make it a little bit more of a personal experience whenever looking for specific fragrances. Fragrance is super personal. There are certain people that like really bold fragrances. There are certain people that like really minimalistic fragrances, usually those in the health industry or like flight attendants, people that don't want to come across as like super aggressive. So it's all things to consider. And there are certain people that like have their signature scent, right? Like that they like that is their scent. You know it. They always smell like it. They every time you hug Lala, she is gonna smell like blank. You know, it's just like part of who they are. And I actually used to be like that. Fun fact, back in high school, which was way long ago, much longer than you think. So Chanel Mademoiselle, which I know is kind of a bougie fragrance for a high schooler to be wearing, but let me tell you the backstory, okay? So me and one of my really good friends, she's like a sister to me, she had an older sister. And all throughout growing up and in high school, middle school, we really looked up to this older sister. We thought she was just like the most glamorous, beautiful, smart, like it girl, right? She was the it girl in the high school. And she wore Chanel. And so after that, we were like, we have to get Chanel. Like, we need it, you know? Even though we totally didn't need it. And it did not fit our very bad style. But every Christmas, as our Christmas present to each other, I would get her a Chanel Chance, and she would get me Chanel Mademoiselle. So that's what we did for forever. And that was my signature scent. I always wore it. I didn't deviate. That was like my go-to smell. But I will say that I am not one of those people, like if something gets too trendy, it's really hard for me to still like it. I might still like it. It's a great fragrance, I'm not gonna lie. It is still, it's really lovely, really well made. But if everyone is wearing it, I don't want to smell like everyone else. So, yeah. Also, I think that like Chanel Mademoiselle was like, I mean, it wasn't new at all. It had been around for forever. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to look up how long ago it was made, but I'll insert it here. Then all of a sudden, they came out with a new advertisement with Keira Knightley as the face of Chanel Mademoiselle. So the newer, younger people, consumers would buy it. And it worked. Everyone and their mother wanted Chanel Mademoiselle. And after that, it kind of killed it for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, also all these people coming in being like, oh, I want to try the new Chanel Mademoiselle. And I'm like, it's first of all, it's not new. Second of all, stop buying my fragrance. Ugh. But I digress. My point is that I have a plethora of different fragrances. I am not a signature scent type of person. If there was something that I really found that I was like, ugh, this is me all wrapped in one, I probably would wear it the most. But I'm definitely not like a one scent type of gal anymore. I definitely go along, I either match my fragrance to A, what I'm wearing, or B, how I'm feeling, okay? And those are really two big things that differentiate fragrance for me now. So when I thought about doing like fragrance reviews on YouTube, I thought, how can I make it unique to myself and change things up a little bit from just like giving you guys all the notes and whatnot, which I still will do. It's important information or it's interesting information, but I also want to give you guys kind of like a story of like who would wear that fragrance, right? So like if you're shopping for blank, what's their personality? What do they like doing? How high maintenance are they? Are they really low key? And I feel like this is really huge. I feel like it helped me when I was helping people find a fragrance for themselves, because I would always start with that. And then it would give me like a really quick way to narrow down which ones would be best to fit their personality. And I know that sounds really weird, like shopping your fragrance as your personality, but it really works. Like that worked every single time. Every single time it's successful if I did that. So I'm gonna incorporate that into here. And I think it will help people that are kind of shopping around or interested in new fragrances or old fragrances that they've heard a lot about. And maybe it would kind of help people see what's a good fit for them or what might be a good fit for them and what they might be interested in, okay? So let me know if you think it's a good idea. That was the longest intro ever. I'm really sorry, but because this is my first time doing a fragrance review, I just kind of wanted to preface everything and explain why I'm even doing this. I have had over 15 years in the beauty industry. I have been surrounded by fragrance for most of that, and I have worked with fragrances for a really long time. So I do kind of know what I'm talking about as well. I'm not just some TikToker that's like, I love this fragrance and it smells really good. I don't know anything about it. But I do have extensive knowledge and I do know more in-depth things. So I'm pretty sure I'm kind of qualified, okay? So, and even in the future, I don't know. I feel like in a next life, or maybe this life, like later down the road, it might be really cool to actually work with a fragrance line. Like not in like a sales aspect, but more in like a development aspect. I think that would be really, really fun and challenging and interesting. And I really, really can. Like, it's funny because now when I smell new fragrances, I've done so much with fragrance and I feel like I've like trained my nose so well. I can literally I usually can pick out at least 3 notes. And even if I'm around other people, I'll be like, I smell coffee, I smell vanilla, I smell this. And the other people will pick out really random shit that is not, it does not smell like it. But I guess, you know, since senses are all different, and I guess it depends on what we're exposed to and what things remind us of, and some things can smell really similar to each other. So I guess it can be confusing. But I've been literally standing by people and they're like, oh yeah, I think it smells like this. And I think it smells like this. And I'm over there thinking like, are we smelling the same fragrance? Like, girl, that's not what I smell. And then I'll look it up and my notes are always accurate. So I just think my nose just knows smell, okay? I know what I'm smelling. I've trained my nose to smell what it's smelling accurately. I thought about what I wanted my first fragrance review to be, and I couldn't really decide. I have so many that I love and so many that are like almost empty. But I figured I would show my newest one first. And kind of like work backwards from there would be a good start. So without further ado, this is my first fragrance that I'm going to be reviewing. It is the Dolce Gabbana Q. So I love this stuff. It's an eau de perfume made in Italy. This is what the box looks like. It's a really, really pretty box. This is what the bottle looks like. I mean, come on. I absolutely loved this packaging. I thought it was so chic and so cute. And I love its little crown. And it is kind of like a set, like a matching set. They have like a K by Dolce & Gabbana. It's like the boys version or like the men's version, like king and queen kind of deal situations. And I like the men's version, but I really, really like the women's version. I'm gonna go over some of the notes. Fragrances are top notes, middle notes, and base notes, or top notes, mid notes, and base notes. What that basically means, because I actually didn't know this until I started working with fragrances, I just kind of thought, oh, that's just like, it's in there and like the level of intensity and it's just kind of like mixed all together, whatever. But it's actually meaning that like within the first spray, you're gonna get this initial top note. It's what you're first gonna get basically hit in the face with. Like, your first impression is going to be these top notes that are in fragrances. The mid notes are actually gonna kind of creep in after the fragrance settles. And then hours later, after the fragrance has already set on your skin and developed, like usually like 6 hours or so later, you're going to run into those lovely base notes. And so by the end of the day, your fragrance can really smell like almost a completely different fragrance than when you started. And I really, really love that. So the top notes in the Q by Dolce & Gabbana is like a bright citrus note. It is Sicilian lemon, it's red orange, and it's jasmine petals. So right off the bat, you get like this really, really bright, like fresh, citrusy smell, but it's not overly citrusy, like kitchen cleaner. Like some fragrances that boast about lemon, they're too heavy on the lemon, and then it's just like, I feel like I'm smelling like cleaning solvent. This is not like that. This just makes me feel like summertime, okay? It's just like a really good fresh note, really, really fresh citrusy vibe in the beginning. So the middle note or the mid note, I think Dolce & Gabbana calls it the hard note, which is really nice. Nice touch, guys. Is cherries. So I feel like you can kind of smell that in the beginning, but it really comes out once the fragrance kind of settles on your skin. And to me, that's just like sexy, you know what I mean? Like Cherries are sexy and they're kind of playful. They're like that deep red blood color. I find them very sensual and I love them. So you can definitely smell that. It's like a crisp cherry and kind of sweet and like gourmandy, but it's definitely not a gourmand fragrance. It just has like a little bit of that sweetness to cut the lemon. And then the base note of this one is a woodsy base note, which is where I really think they excelled and they really, really knocked it out of the park. Because sometimes if something is too citrusy or too fruity, it's just like, it is a vibe, but it's just like a frou-frou girly vibe. The woody undernote of this one just really creates a really strong base for the fragrance to stand on. And it just makes it really, really powerful and like rounded, if that makes sense. So it has cedar wood and it has musk, different musk in the base notes, which is just really, really lovely to land on. So we're gonna spray this. It's like right off the bat, I'm getting like that little burst of citrus. But then almost immediately it kind of comes into like the soft musk for me. The cherry's there. The wood note is there, but I do think the wood note in this one gets stronger as it sets, like I said, and like later in the day, it just smells like really nice and like balanced and earthy, and I love that about this fragrance. So to conclude, this is going to be my favorite part. Who is going to wear this fragrance? So if I was shopping for somebody like a friend or myself and I was wondering if this might be a good fit, this fragrance I would say is for somebody that is passionate and bold and strong and still has a really strong sense of femininity. I think that this fragrance really envelops that kind of mentality. So just think of like literally like a queen, okay? Somebody that is super secure in herself, but also not really loud and obnoxious and boasting. Like she has it under control, okay? She can like rule this kingdom and no problem like that, okay? So the ads for this fragrance, I really, really loved. I thought they were stunning. The only thing that I will say that I was not a fan of, and I don't know, it could be because I'm a lesbian. It also could be because I'm a raging feminist. They did, and I understand why Dolce Gabbana did it. It's because they wanted it to be a partnered fragrance with the men's. So they have like a women's and a men's, okay? It goes together. So if you're in a couple, one person can have the women's and one person can have the men's. It's king and queens. I get it, it complements each other. However, I don't remember what the male version, I'll have to actually look this up because I don't buy many men's fragrances. I'm gonna have to look up and see what the advertisement for the men's fragrance was, but I'm fairly certain that it was just a man on the advertising, and it was like, you know, a strong man dominant advertisement. In the women's, the woman does look super, super strong and powerful, which I love, but she is with a guy. And it's fine. It's fine. Like I get king and queen. Okay, fine. They go together, whatever. But I would have loved to see, even if you're going to do that in the future, maybe in like another alternate advertisement, I would love to see a solitude queen, like a single queen that is just like owning that shit by herself. She doesn't need a fucking king, okay? Her king got his head chopped off in the last war and she's like, relax people, I got this, okay? That's what I would have rather seen. I would have rather, because it is such a good, solid, strong feminine smell. I don't think it needed like, oh, and we have my boyfriend here, you know? I don't know. I thought it kind of like cheapened the strength of it and it kind of made it a little bit more, she's a queen, but she needs a king. But I don't really believe in that. I think a queen can be a queen without the king. So I would have loved to see that in the ad. And maybe in the future they'll do that. You guys will have to comment and let me know what you think. So that basically wraps it up. I'm trying to keep these not too long. I know that this one was just because I was explaining why the fuck I'm all of a sudden doing fragrances, but it is kind of a long time coming. And I've been really trying to focus on things that I really enjoy, things that I'm passionate about. And I don't really want to waste my time on a bunch of other random shit. And As I'm getting older, things that really resonate with me are skincare, okay, skin health, fragrances, photography and videography, obviously creating. I can go a billion different directions at all times. And sometimes that does help me. It's definitely a good quality to have, especially as a creative, but it also can be really distracting and hard to know exactly what to focus on, which is fine. I don't really need to pick one lane. I understand that it's better if you pick one thing. Like if I was like, I'm just gonna do fragrances for forever and I'm only gonna talk about fragrances. I don't feel like that. And I don't think that would be, I understand that would be better for my own personal business growth and like social media growth and like algorithms and blah, blah, blah. But I don't really think that would be authentic to myself. Like I love a lot of different things. So I want to show you guys what I love, and that's a lot of different things. But I am going to try to streamline it just a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, so yeah. That probably won't happen. I'll probably just do what I've been doing and just giving you a hodgepodge of shit. But I am going to be throwing fragrance in there now, hopefully more regularly. So let me know what you guys thought. Let me know if you want to try this out, if you think it would be a good fit, or if you wonder what it smells like, if I did a good job explaining it. And make sure you subscribe and like this video and maybe share it with a friend that was looking at the new Dolce Gabbana Q. And let me know what you think about my new setup. I've been trying different things. I just got new lights, which I am absolutely obsessed with. And so I'm playing around with the different colors, as you can see, and I really, really love it. It adds a little something, something. This video has gone on for far too long now. So go and smell the new Dolce Gabbana Q, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.